All right, how's everybody doing today? We are going to finish up Knightquest the Crusade today with my final issue, even though this was not really technically the final issue if you read them in order, but this is the final issue that I'll review. And then we will be done with all of Knightquest the Crusade. And this is, of course, Shadow of the Bat, number 28. And as we'll see at the end, it leads into another issue that I've already done. And one thing I like about this cover, it's got Commissioner Gordon smashing the bat signal with a gun. And this scene is actually seen in the story, which is pretty cool. Now, there is one other issue of Knightquest the Crusade that kind of gets put on lists as being part of Knightquest the Crusade, but it doesn't have that Knightquest the Crusade banner at the top of it. And that would be the Showcase 94 series. And Showcase 94 always had 3 stories in them. And 94 had special covers that featured the Batman villains. And so the first 2 covers had the Joker. It has a very bizarre Joker story written by James Robinson. And then the next one's got a few people we might meet in Arkham. And then this is I love this cover here. This is so cool. And this is part of a 2-part story where the Arkham inmates are playing baseball. And the art is done by Tim Sale with inks by Jimmy, I can never say his name right, Palmentero, who went on to rule comics or Marvel Comics with Joe Quesada. Then 5 and 6, if you follow the Robin Everyone Loves the Drake podcast, you'll hear Rob, and I think I missed that podcast, but Rob had some help going over these Huntress, Robin, Tim Drake issues. Never liked Tim Drake's mouth in there. It's always weird. And then we get to number 7. This 7 on some list is part of Knightquest the Crusade. And then 8 and 9 are Scarface stories. And then it starts to get into the big crossover 0 Hour. So there's some 0 Hour stuff in here. For some reason I had 2 copies of number 9. I don't know why that is. 10 is... doesn't have it all in the banner here, but this is kind of like an epilogue to the Knight's End storyline. And I was wondering if this is the last Quesada art. And he probably did this before they turned the color red, and then they probably just colored in the helmet red. I wonder if his original art was not red. And then it ends up with a Man-Bat story and an Oracle story, which is a cool Kelly Jones cover. He's known for like the horror and the gore and the 80,000 ab muscles. But this one is pretty cool, and it's not really gory. And it has like a kind of a Killing Joke kind of vibe to it. So what I find interesting, let me move these out of the way. And what I find interesting is these 2 stories are kind of... exact opposites of each other. And so Shadow of the Bat is written by Alan Grant, and this story here is written by Peter David. So Peter David is great writer. He did a lot of Star Trek novels, known for his great run on The Incredible Hulk and Aquaman. But he was not one of the regular DC Bat writers, and that could be why it's a little different, and I'll show you why. So let's go over Shadow of the Bat, and then we'll look at Showcase here. So it starts off, when I first open this page again, I was like, oh, look at all this reading. But then as I read it, it's actually pretty cool. It's got some really cool Jean Paul. It's not exactly his dialogue, but it's kind of sets his tone. And I like this because he's thinking about how Abattoir has just died, and that, you know, it's probably a good thing. And he says he doesn't feel good and he doesn't feel bad. Jean Paul Valley feels righteous. And I thought that was kind of cool. And then we get Bullock. Bullock is just like, man, he's funny. They're talking about how Abattoir died, and Bullock is basically like, yep, no loss. And then they're like, yeah, but, you know, his relative is still out there. Graham Etchinson's still out there. And Bullock's like, yeah, he probably killed him anyway, and he's a stiff, and something like that. And you see Commissioner Gordon, he's losing his mind, because how could Batman have just let him die? But, you know, he didn't really just let him die. He kind of spazzed out. But anyway, then we get this kind of story about the Rat Gang or something here, and they've got some, I don't know, this is just kind of the introduction of them. And then Jean-Paul's having bad dreams about Abattoir dying. Some kind of cool art there. But then, if he's waking up and having these horrible dreams, it kind of shows, he's probably a good guy and not bad if he's feeling regret and remorse. So I get a little bit more Commissioner Gordon here, and them trying to find Graham Etchison, and then they finally find him, and they see the weights on him and realize he died. And so then we get a little bit more Jean-Paul getting ready to go out into the night, and Commissioner Gordon getting the call that Graham Etchison's dead. And I like this because there's no dialogue, no word balloons. You just kind of know what's going on there. That's pretty cool. And he lights the bat signal to read Jean-Paul the Riot Act. So we get the Rat Gang here, and they've got some stupid plan to threaten restaurants that they'll destroy them unless they pay him $100 a night. And he says they're going to be millionaires because there's 40 restaurants. But if you do the math, it's a long way to $1 million. And so then here, Commissioner Gordon reads Batman the Riot Act. He says, "How dare you do this? Don't you care about life? Don't you care about all this stuff?" And Batman's just like, "What's your point?" And he's like, "Abattoir deserved to die, and think of how many people are saved now that he's dead." And then here, Commissioner Gordon takes a swing at Batman because, of course, violence solves everything. And the old guy kind of swings himself right off the roof of the building, and Batman saves him. Shows he wasn't really a bad guy. He could have let Jim Gordon, who's giving him all this grief, fall. And Batman kind of saves Jim and then kind of scolds him as Jim Gordon pulls a gun on Batman to shoot him in the back. And Batman says, "I know you're not a murderer." And he says, only light that signal if it's important. And Gordon is just done with Asbats. He just smashes the signal, just like on the cover. So then Batman sees the Rat Gang, and then we get a cool, full-page spread of the Rat Gang getting beat up, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 panels of them beating them up, and then 3 more panels of them beating them up, and then 3 more, and then 3 more panels of him beating them up, and then, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more panels where somebody tried to take a picture, and Batman says, "No pictures." And so then Gordon gets the call in about all the violence, and he feels betrayed. How could Batman be so violent? And then Jean-Paul comes in, and as we know, the system does not only give him super strength and speed and, well, not super, but, enhanced, and reflexes and fighting ability. It also gives him design capabilities because now he's designing the ultimate Batman suit, which is continued in Detective Comics 675, which I've already done that one. But what's funny is Showcase 94 number 7 is the exact opposite. You got the Penguin, and I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but basically Commissioner Gordon is just on the losing his mind because his wife, or I'm not sure if they're married here yet, or just girlfriend Sarah, she's kidnapped, and he knows the Penguin knows about it. So basically Gordon tells them don't come in, under no circumstances. And then Gordon, I said, "Get out here." And he just goes to town on the Penguin, just, trying to intimidate him, beat him up. Look at Gordon right there. He looks like Asbats going crazy there, right? Ready to kill the Penguin, beating him up, grabs him, takes him all the way to the roof of the building, right? Holds him where the bat signal is, holds him over the edge, getting ready to throw him to his death. And then, there she is, saved by Batman, the hero, Jean-Paul. And so Batman says, "Hey, look, I had a lead on her, and I had to go get her real quick. I couldn't stop, and I saved her." And, he says, "I'll always be there." So it's just kind of how do you go from this to this? It just kind of doesn't dwell. And obviously the answer is they're fictional characters, and it was 2 different writers, and one of the writers was just doing a short little piece for Showcase 94 to cash a check, and someone else was telling a story that was going to continue on in different media. But I think it's kind of funny how it is. So anyway, that will do it for Knightquest the Crusade, and that means we have to do Knightquest the Search. Woohoo! All right. Ow! See you next time.